Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
It's beautiful outside today on the WRAL weather patio, but it's about to get hot. I'll have the transition timeline from below normal to above normal temperatures coming up.
We hear you. The chancellor of a Triangle HBCU reacts to campus protesters.
Truth Social tirade. President Trump calls for Fed Chair Jerome Powell's job. How the war of words impacted the stock market.
Those temperatures are on the way up as we switch our weather pattern heading into the weekend. Good Thursday afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Boy, that view looks beautiful, doesn't it? Meteorologist Kat Campbell is on the WRAL weather patio with a look at what's happening to bring us this big warm-up. Kat.
It's going to be a big one that we've got coming our way this weekend. It's not too hot today, so I brought a special guest. You can see my little pup, Jazzy. She's hanging out with me today ahead of the Durham Bulls Bark in the Park. We'll have more on that coming up. But it's a taste of summer once we get to Easter weekend. It's not just going to be warm, it's going to be flat out hot by the weekend. 83 tomorrow, 89 degrees on Saturday. And then once we get to Easter Sunday, 86, still trending warmer, 78 on Tuesday. The normal high this time of year is 73. So these numbers are running well above normal once we get to the weekend. Let's talk about why. We've got a huge ridge of high pressure that builds in, and it's actually going to be situated over the Atlantic Ocean. This is a summer-like setup for us here in North Carolina. A lot of times in the spring, you'll get that big high pressure that's situated over the southeast, but with it moving offshore, that's what's really going to allow temperatures to climb. We're at 66 right now in Raleigh and at the airport, 67 in Cary and Apex, 68 in Fuquay Marina. It's warm out here, especially in the direct sunlight. If you are taking your dog for a walk this afternoon, it'll be a nice day to do so in the upper 60s to lower 70s through the afternoon. As I mentioned, Jazzy's here. She's going to help me out with the Durham Bulls Bark in the Park forecast. That's coming up tonight. We've got some great baseball weather. We'll have more on that coming up shortly.
We'll walk later. She's comfortable in that little doggy bed. Kat, thank you. 5 people were arrested at a protest at NC Central yesterday. NCCU tells WRAL at least 3 of those people are not affiliated with the university. WRAL's Monica Casey was on the Durham campus during the protest and arrests. Monica, it was a chaotic scene there.
Renee, it was, and the feel is much different now. We saw 3 people arrested here on Brant Street yesterday in connection with the protest. This is where it started. Now, if you take a look at your screen, this is video of those arrests. Most of the protesters face misdemeanor charges, but one woman is charged with a felony of assaulting a law enforcement officer. All of this was over the housing conditions here at Central and also the amount of housing that's here for students. We spoke with seniors who currently live off campus who say they wish they didn't have to.
You're still paying $1,800 a month by yourself, and then you're trying to go to school, you're trying to work, and then you got to do other stuff as well. And it's hard to maintain your work life and your school life if you're living off campus. So it's best to live on campus so you don't have to pay rent and so you can focus on your work.
Now, in a statement to the NC Central community, Chancellor Carrie Dixon said she was in Raleigh during yesterday's protest pushing for this bill in the Senate. It requests a total of $169 million to deal with everything from fire safety to roof replacements to failing electrical infrastructure in the buildings here on campus. Now, in her statement, Chancellor Dixon told students they are being heard, and NC Central is committed to doing everything within their resources that they can to deal with this issue. We have requested an interview with the chancellor today, but we have not yet heard back. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Duke University is joining dozens of campuses across the country for the National Day of Action today. Students are demanding that university leaders join a lawsuit against the Trump administration for threatening to deport international students. Duke students, faculty, and staff will hold a rally and march on West Campus today at 3.
This morning, the North Carolina Senate's budget proposal cleared a final vote. The more than $30 billion spending bill attracted some fierce criticism from Democrats during a marathon Senate session last night. WRAL's Eric Miller has been following along with this process. Eric, where does the budget go from here?
Well, Jeff, that bill will be going right across the hall here from the North Carolina Senate right over there to the House, where representatives are working on a budget bill of their own. That's expected to drop sometime next month. These two chambers will then have to come together on a compromise. Now, there was already some bipartisan agreement here on this vote this morning. 4 Democrats voting for this Republican written bill. The bill has a lot packed in here. It includes significant Hurricane Helene relief, rebuilds the state reserves, but it also has some pretty major cuts as well, including to higher education, as well as eliminating hundreds of vacant state jobs.
It's not probably the budget everybody wanted, but it is a good, sound, fiscal, responsible budget that we have put together that will continue to keep moving North Carolina forward.
So what about that criticism? Many Democrats have been very harshly critical here, including Senate Democratic leader Sidney Batch, who at one point called this bill cruel for some of the cuts it made. During that marathon Senate session last night, Democrats filed dozens of amendments to this bill to do everything from increase the raise given to teachers to hold off on planned tax cuts. All but one of those amendments was shot down. In Raleigh, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, really scary moments near the finish line of the Boston Marathon this morning, where police officers fired a shot at a dog who they say was vicious. Nobody was hit, including the dog. Police said the officers chased the dog to the area of the Boston Common where they tased it. The dog's condition was not immediately clear. Crews were installing the art on the finishing line. An investigation is underway.
5 families are out of their homes because of a fire at a row of townhouses. This was the scene when the WRAL Breaking News Tracker arrived last night on Finsbury Street in Durham. No one was hurt. Investigators are working to determine what started the fire. We're working to learn the extent of damage caused by an early morning fire in Raleigh. This happened on Six Forks Road just after 2:30. No one was hurt. The cause is under investigation.
Stocks dropped 700 points this morning after President Donald Trump called for the termination of Fed Chair Jerome Powell. It's the latest criticism in a longstanding feud between the president and the Fed chair. In a post on Truth Social, the president wrote, "Powell's termination cannot come fast enough." NBC's Garrett Haight reports the Fed chair is warning about how the tariffs will impact inflation.
Back in the spotlight this morning, President Trump's sweeping global trade war. The stock market sinking again Wednesday, the tech-heavy NASDAQ down more than 3%, amid new warnings about the impact of Trump tariff policies from the Federal Reserve Chairman.
Tariffs are highly likely to generate at least a temporary rise in inflation. The inflationary effects could also be more persistent.
To the World Trade Organization, which said in a new report that the outlook for global trade has, quote, deteriorated sharply due to a surge in tariffs and trade policy uncertainty. That uncertainty rattling businesses nationwide, from Wisconsin farmers who can't sell their crops thanks to retaliatory tariffs.
The gentleman that bought our product in China just wants to hold because he can't afford to pay the tariff right now.
To toy stores in California that can't afford to stock their shelves.
It's very, very scary because, it feels like everything we work for is like it's go toward tax.
The Golden State's governor filing a lawsuit against the federal government Wednesday, claiming President Trump lacks the authority to unilaterally implement the tariffs, inflicting billions of dollars in damages to the state's economy.
No state is poised to lose more than the state of California. This is recklessness at another level.
The president defending his tariffs, falsely inflating the revenue they've brought in.
We were making $2 billion and $3 billion a day. We never made money like that. It could replace the income tax. That's the kind of money.
It's incredible.
But Customs and Border Protection, the agency which collects the tariffs, told CNBC in a statement that they've brought in $500 million in tariff revenue since April 5th and $21 billion in total since Inauguration Day. The president now focused on hammering out new trade deals, meeting with a Japanese delegation at the White House Wednesday, later posting big progress.
And we had mentioned the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 700 at one point earlier this morning, as you see on the graph there. Right now, it is down 440 points right now this noon. NASDAQ and S&P 500 balancing each other out. NASDAQ's down 17, S&P 500 up 17.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, legendary former college football coach and fixture of ESPN's College Game Day, Lee Corso, is retiring. He made the announcement today saying his final appearance will be August 30th during week 1 of college football. ESPN is calling it his final headgear pick, which is a nod to his College Game Day where he wears mascot headgear to signal what his pick will be for the game. You can see it here. Corso, who turns 90 years old in August, debuted on ESPN's college football pregame show back in 1987. So yes, he deserves to retire.
Quite a career and quite a long run. Well, a new pill form of popular diabetes medication could be available by the end of the year. Eli Lilly says its experimental drug to treat people with diabetes also help them lose weight and lower blood sugar. Another pill on the market comes with severe diet restrictions. Eli Lilly says a daily pill would be easier to use and, because it would be cheaper to manufacture, could possibly lower patient costs. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Today, one local town held a special ceremony to raise awareness. The Morrisville Police Department and Wake County Health and Human Services held its annual pinwheel ceremony this morning. You may be wondering, why pinwheels? Well, they're a reminder of the happy and healthy childhood all children deserve. This year's national theme is Powered by Hope, Strengthened by Prevention.
Next at noon, drastic takedown here. Look at this. Immigration officers smash a car window to arrest a man. A reaction from his family members.
Also, evidence of aliens. What scientists detected that they say is the strongest case yet of life on another planet.
Plus, a crosswalk hacked. The prank message somebody played on people in Seattle.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
And a beautiful view right now, Carr Lake. As you look right there, blue skies, water there from the Virginia side, I believe, right there. As you watch WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
There's a new development in the immigration standoff between the Trump administration and the courts. A federal judge is giving the administration 1 week to file a declaration explaining the steps they've taken and will take to bring back those who were flown to a notorious prison in El Salvador. NBC's Hallie Jackson has the administration's response from overnight.
An extraordinary escalation this morning between President Trump and the federal courts. The Trump administration appealing overnight after a judge threatened criminal contempt against them, saying officials ignored his order to turn around deportation flights headed to El Salvador last month. Judge James Boasberg writing, "The Constitution does not tolerate willful disobedience of judicial orders." The judge writing, "Contempt proceedings will start if those hundreds of Venezuelan migrants don't get a chance to legally challenge their removal." The clash coming just hours after another federal judge chastised the administration for ignoring a Supreme Court ruling to facilitate the return of a man mistakenly deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was removed from the U.S. because of what the Justice Department called an administrative error.
If he ever ends up back in the United States, he would immediately be deported again.
The Justice Department also releasing documents in an attempt to show Abrego Garcia is a violent gang member, pointing to a 2019 report from Maryland police that linked him to MS-13. His lawyer and family have denied any gang affiliation, and he's never been charged with any crime. The administration also releasing this, showing his wife requested a restraining order in 2021. She now says in a statement that she acted out of caution after surviving domestic violence in a previous relationship. Maryland Senator Democrat Chris Van Hollen traveling to El Salvador to press for Abrego Garcia's release, saying officials there denied his request to meet with him.
This is simply about letting him have his day in court.
A family in Massachusetts is demanding answers after an Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer smashed a car window with a hammer to arrest a man. Family members say Juan Francisco Mendez was on his way to a dentist appointment when agents swarmed their vehicle. Francisco Mendez, his wife, and 9-year-old son applied for asylum over fears of persecution if they returned home to Guatemala. His wife and son received protection, and his application is being processed. The family's lawyer says in her 27 years as an immigration attorney, she'd never seen such drastic measures being taken.
He's never committed any criminal conduct. He's never been involved in any criminal conduct. There really was no reason to treat him the way that he and his wife were treated.
Now, the lawyer says the agents were not looking for Mendez, but another man with a different name. The city's mayor says the arrest raises questions that require clear answers, including why local police were not alerted beforehand.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, a baby swing sold on Walmart.com is being recalled because it poses a suffocation risk. This is a picture of the swing here. The Akamanaroa infant swing does not have the adequate incline angle to allow babies to sleep safely without the risk of suffocation. The swings you see here have a blue space-themed pattern and a black base with a touchscreen panel. Families should stop using these swings immediately and contact the company or Walmart for a full refund.
Michelle, thanks. Astronomers say the Webb telescope has detected a possible signature of life on a distant planet. Scientists say it is the strongest evidence yet. The planet, called K2-18b, is nearly 9 times the mass of Earth and 700 trillion miles away from us. A team in Cambridge says the molecules on that planet are only produced by simple organisms, but stress that more data is needed to confirm the results.
One of the oldest annual meteor showers known to humankind is going on right now. The Lyrids meteor shower typically produces 10 to 15 meteors per hour. It's expected to peak Monday and Tuesday when the tail is at its peak. You don't need special equipment to observe the brilliant lights, and the main requirement is just a clear, dark sky. Get away from those lights. Sky gazers can catch the dazzling light show through next Friday. Something to look forward to, especially when we have clear skies like this right now. Just get away from those city lights.
Yeah, the dark sky spectacle, but also all the sunshine there as we look live at the Legislative Building. Of course, we'll track all the state budget there and all the talks for that. But let's get to meteorologist Kat Gamble, who's out enjoying the WRAL weather patio. Oh, and Jazzy there holding Jazzy. Did she not want to be in the doggy bed anymore?
Well, I had to show off her outfit for the Durham Bulls game tonight. She is wearing her Durham Bulls outfit. She is ready to go. It's going to be great out at the Bulls overnight. So, you know, if you're going out to the game, it's sitting in the 70s right now. If you're in the sun, it's going to be pretty warm out there. So just keep that in mind. 75 now at the airport, 73 in Raleigh, 72 in Apex, and 73 in Fuquay Arena. Let's take a look at the Bulls right now. It's a nice day. We've got the sunshine there. If you're looking forward to going to the game tonight, keep in mind for Bark in the Park, proceeds from all the pet ticket sales go to a Second Chance Life pet adoption. So it's all for a good cause. You get to bring your furry best friend. You can eat a hot dog, let your dog maybe sneak a little bite. It'll be nice for it. By 6 o'clock, 68 degrees, so a little bit more comfortable. 63 by 8 o'clock out at Bark in the Park tonight. And for the Bulls games this week, it starts to get warmer. Tomorrow, first pitch, 6:35 again, 72 degrees. Saturday, we're at 80 degrees, partly cloudy. It's going to be pretty toasty out there for Saturday's game. Make sure that you drink lots of water, you're staying hydrated, and that you've got your sunscreen with you for the next several games. Check out these numbers. 89 on Saturday, 86 for Easter Sunday. It's not feeling like spring this weekend. It's feeling like summer. Now, we're not quite to records, though, for Saturday. The record high is 93. Sunday, sunrise is 6:34, so if you're headed to sunrise services, temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 60s at that time. 86 the high for Easter Sunday. Town by town, though, Saturday, we could see highs reach the upper 80s to near 90 potentially in Fayetteville. It's going to be toasty out there. Tomorrow is the day that we really heat up. It's our transition day. We go from the low 50s, even some upper 40s in the morning, all the way up to about 80 degrees once we get to the afternoon. Highs will be in the lower 80s tomorrow for many of us. But we start out at 50, so still cool enough tomorrow morning where you'll want a jacket, but probably only for a couple of hours. Once we get to lunchtime, we're already in the mid-70s. A great Friday to do lunch outside. You can bring a picnic out here to the WRAL Azalea Gardens if you want to. Saturday, we make a run at 90 degrees, and then Easter Sunday, the Easter Bunny looks pretty happy about that forecast, 86 degrees. But our next weather maker is on the way next week. It's a cold front, not necessarily one of those cold fronts that sharply drops temperatures, we're going to see less and less of those now that we're really in the heart of spring season. However, it could bring some rain and storms Tuesday, though a lot of uncertainty about the exact timing for when we could see rain from that front. But we're going to need some rain by the time we get to that point, especially with all the planting that's been done recently. Jeff and Renee.
Kat, I gotta say, it's just impressive how chill Jazzy is. She just loves being with her mama.
She knows if she misbehaves, she won't get to go to bark at the park tonight.
And the Durham Bulls outfit, so cute.
Yeah.
Home buyer frustrations, mortgage rates rent prices are still high, and many are feeling frustrated as ever. Today on WRAL News at 4, routes you can take to help save your money.
And AP testing cuts. The state Senate is looking to reduce the testing fees by $14 million each year. At 5:30, what this means for students across our state. Well, still ahead this noon, it's party time. A craft store is expanding its business model. How Michaels hopes to capitalize on one company's exit.
Targeting pet owners, from dangerous dog food to fake medication. 5 Under Side's Keely Arthur shows you what to look out for before buying. We would do almost anything for our pets, and scammers know that. From collars and toys to treats, counterfeit pet products are flooding the market. 5 Under Side's Keely Arthur shares how to make sure you're buying the real product and not the copycat.
How much do you spend on your pet each year? Well, according to the ASPCA, it's more than $1,000 on average, and that's mostly just for food and vet visits. But when it comes to pet accessories, scammers are ready to pounce. The Better Business Bureau says more pet parents are getting duped by fake websites and cheap knockoffs. A red flag, a popular item listed way below the normal price on a site you've never heard of.
There is a danger to a pet if it isn't exactly what you think it is. They could swallow parts, it could be toxic. So you want to make sure that if you're looking for a specific product, that you're using retailers that you can trust or that actually manufactured that product.
Okay, to keep your pet and your wallet safe, stick with trusted retailers, read verified reviews, and use a credit card always for that added protection. If you're shopping for something new, Consumer Reports just rated several affordable favorites like rubber dog boots, a finger toothbrush, and a comfy dog bed. We will detail those products coming up on WRAL News this evening and have put them up on our website. Just go to WRAL.com/5 on your side. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
When in doubt, talk to your vet, especially when buying things like flea and tick meds. Some of those can be counterfeit as well.
Americans lost $470 million to text message scams last year. Federal Trade Commission says the most commonly reported scams involved fake package delivery, bogus job opportunities, and wrong number scams. Fake fraud alerts were also sent, warning people about suspicious purchases, issues with their bank, or links to pay fake unpaid tolls. Who hasn't gotten one of those? The FTC says you should never click on the links or respond to any of those unexpected texts.
Harvard in hot water after rejecting an ultimatum from the Trump administration. The Ivy League university now faces new threats. How the administration could impact enrollment.
Controversial comments. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. under fire now after calling autism preventable. And here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen. We'll be right back.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
In just a few hours, hundreds of people will gather to demand better protections for students and faculty at Duke University. As WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains, this is part of the National Day of Action to defend higher education.
Duke is joining dozens of college campuses for National Day of Action. Students, faculty, and staff will march here on campus later today. They're calling on university leaders to respond to recent moves by the Trump administration. This comes after Harvard University recently rejected the administration's demands, like getting rid of DEI initiatives and limiting the acceptance of international students. Now, the university could lose $2 billion in federal funding. Earlier this month, we reported that 6 international students at UNC had their visas revoked. Today, Duke students are speaking out. A group is gathering to make demands to university leaders. They say they want protections for international students, faculty, and staff. They also want the school to join a lawsuit against the Trump administration over policy changes. That march is scheduled for this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Durham.
The Trump administration is threatening to revoke Harvard University's ability to enroll foreign students unless it hands over disciplinary records. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem set an April 30th deadline. The department has also canceled grants totaling nearly $3 million. Harvard's president says the university will not surrender its independence or relinquish its constitutional rights. Brown University has taken out a $300 million loan following a threat to federal funding from the Trump administration. A spokesperson for the school released a statement saying rather than entering the public taxable debt markets, Brown chose to negotiate directly with the lender in order to tailor the loan to our particular objectives. The university also joined a federal lawsuit filed Monday challenging the U.S. Department of Energy's cuts to federal grant funding.
Heads up, if you get prescriptions from Walgreens, you may see changes to the way they're being filled. At least 2 locations in the Triangle are sending prescriptions out of state. So the sign was posted at a Gardner Walgreens telling customers some prescriptions will be filled at a micro-fulfillment pharmacy. That pharmacy is all the way in Mechanicsville, Virginia, just outside of Richmond. People are concerned that it could take longer to get some prescriptions filled.
That be happen. You know, when we need a medication, we should have it right away.
The change is already having an effect. One customer shared this picture with us. Just 5 of 90 pills were able to be filled on site. The customer is waiting for the remainder of the order to be shipped to the store to be picked up. Walgreens tells us they're going with this model to help pharmacists spend more time with people to answer questions.
Latest numbers released show 12 more people have died from the flu in North Carolina. That brings the statewide total now to 515 people this season. At least 5 of those deaths were children. This is North Carolina's deadliest flu season on record.
Controversial statements on autism by Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. causing outrage. In his first news conference in his role in the Trump administration, Kennedy called autism an epidemic and that researchers just need to find environmental toxins linked to the rise. NBC's Am Thompson has reaction.
Speaking for nearly 30 minutes, the nation's top health official, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., taking aim at the CDC's latest report on rising autism rates.
This is a preventable disease. We know it's an environmental exposure.
The report, released Tuesday, says 1 in 31 8-year-olds were identified with autism spectrum disorder in 2022, up from 1 in 36 in 2020. RFK Jr. discounting the CDC's own previous finding that genetic predisposition is a risk factor in developing autism, and doubling down on his assertion that it's an epidemic.
Genes do not cause epidemics. You need an environmental toxin.
Dr. Zach Warren is one of the authors of the CDC report.
We have data that a certain percentage of some types of autism can be clearly explained by genetic differences. We have other evidence suggesting that actually it's the complex interplay of environmental factors.
RFK Jr.'s bleak description of people living with autism causing outrage.
Autism destroys families. These are kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. And we have to recognize we are doing this to our children, and we need to put an end to it.
It is demeaning, it is dehumanizing, and it is flat out wrong.
Sam Branson has a PhD in physics and is an autism researcher. He and his 7-year-old son both have autism.
I think a lot of autistic people have quite a bit to contribute to the world.
Kennedy says he plans to provide more autism data in real time, adding that he'll direct resources to studying environmental factors, exposures, and external factors.
And that's where we're going to find the answer.
That was Ann Thompson reporting. Kennedy announced a new testing and research effort to reveal the cause of autism. He says his team will have the answer by September.
Hacking into crosswalk signs, the political message people in Seattle heard that replaced the normal audio cue that tells you when to walk.
Not a jellyfish. You're looking at a young colossal squid making its television debut, where it was captured on video for the first time ever. Get all of WRAL's reporting resources on the WRAL News app. Customize your news feed for stories that matter to you. Download the latest version today.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff are meeting with French officials ahead of talks with Ukraine. Paris is hosting a series of talks about Ukraine and its security. The State Department says the talks will center around efforts to end the Russia-Ukraine war. European diplomats have said they will urge the U.S. to put more pressure on Russia to agree on an unconditional ceasefire. President Trump's pick to be Washington, D.C.'s top prosecutor failed to report nearly 200 past media appearances to Congress. Ed Martin is mandated to report those details to Congress, but when Martin first filed his disclosure forms, he left out appearances on far-right media outlets and on Russian state media. He updated his disclosures twice this month, but still failed to capture them all. This week, he issued a statement saying, "I regret the errors and apologize for any inconvenience."
Another North Carolina organization is set to lose significant funding from the federal government. The Pauli Murray Center for History and Social Justice says a $33,000 grant was terminated. The funding was from the Institute for Museum and Library Services. The center received notice that the grant is no longer consistent with the Institute's priorities. The grant was authorized last year. Police are investigating the source of a prank message to pedestrians in Seattle.
This crosswalk is sponsored by Amazon Prime with an important message. You know, please don't tax the rich. Otherwise, all the other billionaires will move to Florida, too.
An unusual recording, for sure. When they pushed the crosswalk button, instead of hearing the normal walk and stop cues, they heard that message from someone claiming to be from Amazon Prime. And the message said, "Please don't tax the rich." That's a possible reference to a tax Washington state lawmakers are considering on people with assets exceeding $50 million. City crews were dispatched to reprogram those crosswalk buttons.
A supersized masterpiece. An autistic teen carves out his niche with a record work of art. The message his creation is sending around the globe.
Finishing touches. We are just days away from one of the world's toughest marathons. How many people will take part in this year's highly popular event?
We're following some breaking news right now in the WRAL Live Center, where an active shooter has been reported in Tallahassee at Florida State University. This is a live look at the scene from our sister station, WFLA in Tampa. You can see law enforcement outside on the scene right now. They are saying that this active shooter was in the area of the Student Union. They also just said live on the air, Tallahassee Memorial Hospital has confirmed to them there are multiple hospitalizations as a result of the active shooter. They did not confirm whether anybody was shot. The buildings around the campus are on lockdown. The entire campus on lockdown right now. Police at the scene.
It's been nearly a year since a local mother accused of murder was arrested. In that time, WRAL Investigates has dug deeper into this case, including the work underway to bring it to trial. WRAL's Chris Lovingood followed this case since the very beginning. And Chris, you recently got an update from the Cumberland County District Attorney.
I did, Renee. I reached out to DA Billy West to get clarification on this. He said that there is a lot of work being done behind the scenes in the case against Avante Devon. In fact, she's accused of killing 2 of her 5 adopted children, Blake and London Devon. To protect the integrity of this case, West could only say so much, but he made it very clear that his office and Fayetteville Police are working very hard to move this case forward. But because of how involved this case is, patience is important.
Things take time. You want to get it right. You want to do it right. And that's what we're dedicated to doing in this particular case.
And so tonight at 6 o'clock on WRAL, I will lay down the timeline to trial for the Avante Devin case, and I'll explain what needs to be done before the case is trial ready and when the case will likely go to trial. And then tomorrow morning, when the WRAL Daily Download podcast episode about this drops, I'll talk about my work on this case as we approach 1 year since Avante Devin was arrested.
Chris, thanks for that. Just 4 days left now until the Boston Marathon, with crews making sure the start and finish lines have a crisp coat of paint. This is the 129th running of this world major. Yesterday, teams painted the start line. Today, the finish line will get done on Boylston Street. That'll be installed there. And this year's race includes 30,000 elite and recreational runners. The first event begins just after 9 a.m. Monday morning on Patriots Day. Tonight, the Carolina Hurricanes play in Ottawa to wrap up the regular season, and then it is on to the playoffs. Canes lost last night in Montreal. These end-of-season games will not affect the Canes' playoff standing in any way. They are locked in for a first-round matchup with the New Jersey Devils. The Canes will host games 1 and 2 at the Lenovo Center. The schedule has not been released officially yet. Game 1 could be as early as Saturday or as late as Monday.
A 15-year-old autistic artist from Nigeria is taking its place in the history books. He goes by Kanye, and he now holds the Guinness World Record for largest artwork on a canvas by an individual. It is more than 132,000 square feet, or roughly 3 acres. And the title of this piece, Impossibility is a Myth. He unveiled the art piece earlier this month on World Autism Day. His mother says she hopes Kanye's journey inspires other children with autism to chase their dreams.
He doesn't talk, but we want his art to tell his story on his behalf. We want his art to give hope to a parent out there that doesn't have hope. We want his art to inspire confidence in other children that are on the spectrum.
The painting is made up of a large infinity sign with a variety of faces showing different emotions. Impossibility is a myth.
Yeah.
The word possible is in impossibility.
Inspire and give hope. Could you ask for anything more, right? We can't ask for anything better weather-wise. And right now, Kat Campbell is out on the WRAL Severe Weather patio with a look at what's happening this afternoon. I know it's a big day for you and Jazzy out there, Kat.
The Durham Bulls have their Bark in the Park game tonight, so she's in her Durham Bulls outfit. She is ready to go. We've got great weather for the event tonight. Temperatures will be in the upper 60s. A live look at Apex downtown. I was there the other night. It was a Thursday, and there were so many people. It's good to see downtown Apex thriving like that. It's a beautiful day there. I'm sure there will be a lot of people there tonight as well. And in Pinehurst, a lot of golfers, of course, inspired by the Masters, I'm sure. Clear blue skies. I mean, it's a vibrant shade of blue. And this is at Pinehurst Resort and Country Club. If you do want to head out for a round of golf this afternoon, temperatures will be in the upper 60s to lower 70s. A little bit of an increase in cloud cover later this afternoon. Just keep in mind, tree pollen is still high, especially due to the windy weather that we've had the past couple of days. And grass pollen is high as well. That is something that we typically see peak as we head into the month of May. So we're starting to see those numbers climb for grass pollen. But the summer heat returns. It's going to be feeling a lot more like summer than spring for Easter weekend. High pressure slides offshore. You've got this big ridge of high pressure. That helps to make the jet stream shoot pretty much far to the north, way up in Canada, and it allows a major warming trend with the southwest wind both at the surface and at that jet stream level. Check out the highs. We could be near 90 degrees by Saturday, 86 for Easter Sunday, and then next week we stay pretty warm with highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s many days. Essentially, you need your jacket one more day, and that's tonight and tomorrow morning, and then you can ditch the jackets for a little while. We've got a major warm-up that sticks around for quite some time across central North Carolina. If you're headed to the beach tomorrow, you've got great weather, temperatures upper 60s to lower 70s for Easter Sunday. We're going to be in the 70s at the beach, Oak Island around 70, 77 in Beaufort, Topsail 72. You may be wondering, well, why is it going to be much cooler at the beach than here in central North Carolina? It takes a lot longer for the beach to heat up during the spring season, and that's because it's right next to the water, and water takes a lot longer to warm up overall than the surface does. So it kind of helps influence the temperatures on the beach and keeps them a little cooler. But those numbers are still going to be really nice in the sunshine. Over the next couple of days, it heats up. Highs this weekend in the mid to upper 80s, possibly 90 in Fayetteville by Saturday. The Easter Bunny excited about that nice Sunday forecast. Next week, we will have a chance for rain and thunderstorms return. At this point, it looks like the best chance would be Tuesday, but there's a lot of uncertainty there. Models are kind of bouncing back and forth between the timing. They're not showing much in the way of rain, so definitely keep doing your watering. Jeff and Renee?
Kat, I must confess, I was sort of paying attention to your graphics, but I was just kind of zeroed in on Jazzy. She's adorable. Please bring her into the studio so we can
I
say
will.
hi
She'll
to
come
her.
say hi. Oh, there she goes.
Yeah.
There she goes. She's coming in. She's coming in.
That's right. She heard her. She heard you.
She did.
That's right. She's so well behaved. She'll do great at the
So
park tonight. Deep dive here. The depths explorers travel to capture video of an elusive sea creature.
And here's a look at last night's winning Powerball numbers: 20, 24, 42, 43, and 49. The Powerball is 19. Power Play is 3. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. 5 people were arrested at a protest at North Carolina Central yesterday. NCCU tells WRAL at least 3 of those people are not affiliated with the university. Most of the protesters face misdemeanor charges, but one woman is charged with a felony of assaulting a law enforcement officer.
In less than 3 hours, Duke University will take part in the National Day of Action. Students are demanding university leaders join a lawsuit against the Trump administration for threatening to deport international students. The march begins at 3 o'clock on West Campus.
This morning, the North Carolina Senate's budget proposal cleared the final vote. The more than $30 billion spending bill attracted some fierce criticism from Democrats during a marathon Senate session last night. The House will now have a chance to draft its budget proposal.
A colossal squid has been captured on video swimming in the deep sea for the first time since it was identified a century ago. This video was recorded last month near the South Sandwich Islands in the South Atlantic Ocean. It's a depth of nearly 2,000 feet. This one's a juvenile. It's about a foot long, but can grow up to 23 feet long and weigh more than 1,000 pounds.
It's going to get big. An arts and crafts retailer breaks into the party supply space. Michaels is offering a larger selection of party supplies and enhancing in-store experiences for birthday parties and private events. The Texas-based arts and crafts store plans to add more than 500 new products in stores and online in August. The move comes after Party City went out of business after 40 years.